Well, hello again, and welcome to our reading of the Greek New Testament. We're reading Matthew's Gospel, and we're in chapter 27, and we're up to verse 15. Katade hiotan orthe ho hegemon apoluein hena to oklo desmion hon aethelon. Now, the governor, now this is a funny verb here, it's really connected with, there are similar verbs as ethisdo in Biblical Greek, and earlier there's an old verb etho. This is a perfect form. If you're looking this up, you look up aotha. It's perfect in form and present in meaning. It means to be accustomed to. It's connected with our word ethos, ethical and so on. So the governor was accustomed, we might say in English. So the governor was accustomed. This is in fact a pluperfect form. The form you look up is aotha, which is perfect in form. So when you put that into the past tense, it uses a pluperfect ending for the past tense. So the governor was accustomed at the feast, Apolluane, to release one desmion prisoner, to oklo, for the people, whom they wanted. This is the past tense from thello. In classical Greek, in better Greek, you would have had a subjunctive or something with an here, so whomever they wished, but we just get the simple imperfect here. By the way, there's no evidence for this outside of the New Testament. This is a very strange practice to release one of the prisoners at this feast, but and there's no reference to this anywhere else outside of the New Testament. Eikon de toti desmion episemon legomenon Ieson Baraban. And they had, at that time, a desmion episemon, a very notable prisoner, episemon, well-known or notable prisoner, legomenon, called, and in brackets, square brackets here, Jesus Barabbas. Now the bar, of course, is an Aramaic word meaning son of, so it's really son of Abbas. So it's just being called Barabbas. I'll leave you to look at the commentaries on the various interpretations of this and meanings of the name. Son egmenon un auton, e penautois hopilatos, tinethelete apoluso humin. Iesun ton Baraban, e Iesun ton legomenon Christon. Now we get another genitive absolute. Therefore, when they had been gathered together, this is the perfect passive participle from sunago. So when they had been gathered together, Pilate said to them, whom do you wish I will release to you? So whom do you wish that I might release to you? Jesus Barabbas, this is in brackets, or Jesus, the one being called Christon, the Messiah. Eidega hoti diaphthonon paredo kenauton, for he knew, this is the past tense from oida, he knew, again it's interesting, it's like what we saw up here with eothe. Oida is perfect in form but present in meaning, oida I know, and so to put it in the past tense you use the pluperfect ending, which is where this a is coming from. It's normally k with a kappa, but the kappa disappears before the delta, so it's a pluperfect ending. So for he knew that they handed him over diaphthonon out of envy, or perhaps spite might be a possible translation there. Now we get another genitive absolute, kathemenu de autu epi tubematos apestelin pros auton hegune autu legusa, meden soi kai totikaio ekeno Pologa epathon semeron kat one diauton. So when he was sitting, this is Pilate, on the bema, this is the judgment seat, his wife sent to him legusa participle saying. Literally, now there's no verb in this little section here. Literally, nothing for you and for this just man. So, therefore, let there be nothing for you and for this just man. Another way of saying, you have nothing to do with this just man. Polygar epathin. So this is from Pasco. This is the aorist from Pasco. For I suffered. Now the polar you can take as either neuter, well, it is neuter plural, either as many things or as an adverb, muchly. So for I have suffered greatly or muchly, semeron today, kat honor in a dream, diauton because of him. Hoi de akires kai hoi presbyteroi epesan tus oculus hina aite sontai ton baraban, ton de Yesun apo lesosi. But the chief priests and elders, epesan from Patho, they had persuaded the crowds, hina, that they might ask for a Barabbas, and they might kill, they might put to death or destroy Yesun Jesus. Apokrithes de hohegemon epenautois tinathelete apaton duo apoluso humin, hoi de epan ton baraban. And having answered, the governor said to them, whom do you wish apoton duo from the two of them I will release for you. Hoi de epan, and they said, Barabbas. Lege autois hopilatos, tiun poieso Iesun ton legomenon Christon. Pilate says to them, what will I do then to Jesus, the one being called the Messiah? Legusi pantes, stare theato. And they all said, let him be crucified. Now this is an aorist passive imperative. Interestingly, some of the modern translations just say crucify him, but the Greek actually says let him be crucified. It's passive. Hode Ephe, and he said, Tigar kakon epoiesen. What evil has he done? Hoi de perisos ekras don legontes sterotheto. And they began to cry out. This is imperfect from Krasdo, and with imperfects often in inceptive, they begin to do something. So they began to cry out perisos. Perisos means abundantly, but here perhaps vehemently might be better here. But they began to cry out vehemently, saying, Stare theto, let him be crucified. Again, aorist passive imperative. Idon ho Pilatos hoti uden ophele alamalon tharabos ginatai. Labon hodor aponipsatot tas keras ep enanti tu oklu legon. Athoios emi apetu hymatos tutu. Whom mes obseste. Pilate, having seen that it was of use in no respect, so we would say that it was of no avail. It was of use, it was of advantage, uden, to no extent. So Pilate, having seen that it was no use, it was pointless, but rather thoribos, ginatai, but rather a disturbance, almost a riot is taking place, ginatai. Labon hudor, having taken water. Now this is from aponiptomai, if you're looking this one up, aponiptomai, and it's to wash one. It's a middle, so to wash oneself. So having taken water, he washed his hands, apenanti, in front of the crowd, legon, saying. We've seen this word before, athoios, that was the word that Judas used, innocent. So I am innocent of the blood of this man. And again we get the same expression. We had opse before, now it's opses there. It's the future from horao, it's opsamai, and this is the second person plural. You will see. In other words, you lot see, you see to it yourselves. Kai apo krithes pas holaos apen to haima auto ephemas kai epitatekna hemon. And all the crowd, having answered, said, now there's no verb here, we have to understand the imperative of the verb to be. So the blood, so his blood, understand, be upon us and upon our children. A rather unfortunate verse that's been misused quite often against the Jewish people. Tote apellos en autois to Baraban. And at that time he released for them Barabbas, ton Iesun frangelosas paredoken hina starothe. And that time he released Barabbas to them, but Jesus, frangelosas is from frangeloo. It's actually a Latinism. There is a Latin noun, flagellio. It becomes in English flagellio. The rho and the lambda, the rho becomes a lambda in later Latin. We get flagellation and so on from this. So this is a Latin word taken into Greek. So having, it means of course to whip or to beat. So having whipped Jesus, he handed him over that he might be crucified. This is again aorist passive, here subjunctive. Tote hoi stratiotai tu hegemonos paralebontes ton Iesun est to praetorion sunegagon epautu holenten, and the next line is speran. The next page. The soldiers of the governor at that time, having taken Jesus into the praetorion, this is the place where the soldiers live, they gathered together against him, or perhaps just to him, or against him, holen ten speran, the entire cohort. Again, you can look up commentaries on these words of praetorian and the cohort. Kai ek dusantes auton clamuda kokinen peri etheken auto. And having taken off his clothes, so having stripped him from apot duo, ek duo. So en duo is to put on, ek duo is to put off. So having taken off his clothes, having stripped him, they placed around him a chlamys, a coquine, a red, now a chlamys is like a coat. At this stage it probably is a coat that's worn by soldiers, a coat that's put on top of other clothes. So a red cloak, we might say here. Kai plexantes Stephanon ex ekanthon epithecon epites cephales autu kai calamon ente dexia autu kai gonopetesantes emprosten autu en epaixan auto legontes caere basiliu ton iudaion. This verb here is an aorist participle from pleco, if you're looking this one up, with a kappa. It means to plat. So having plaited a crown made from acanthone, from thorns, epitheken epi, they placed it upon his head, and, understand, they put a calamon, a reed, entedexia autu, into his right hand, kai gonopetesantes, from gonopetio, falling upon their knees, emprosten autu, before him. You can see the gonu, knee, root in here. The pet is from petomai, literally to fly, but here to fall, can also mean to fall. So having fallen upon their knees before him, enepaixan, they mocked him, from empisdo. They mocked him, it takes a dative, saying, Kyrie, hail, King of the Jews. Kai ptusantes es auton elebon ton calamon kai etupoton es ten kephalen autu. And having spat upon him, this is from ptuo. Ptuo is that verb to spit, it's onomatopoetic, and having spat upon him. Now we get m here, n and ace. The two are essentially interchangeable in later Greek. So they could have had an ace here, but they've got m-ptuo. So having spat upon him, they took the calamon reed, kai etupton, from tupto, they began to, now it's imperfect, so they began to strike literally into his head. So they struck him upon the head, we might say. And kai hoti enepaixan auto, and when they had mocked him, from empisdo again, ex edusan auton ta clamuda kai endusan auton ta hamatia autu kai abegagon auton este sterosai. So when they had mocked him, this is from this ek duo, they took from him the chlamys, the coat, and there's enduo, and they put on him tahamatia autu, his own clothes. Kai apag, again from apago, they led him away, an ace top plus infinitive, for the purpose of crucifying him. And that is the second section from chapter 27.